Welcome to Mary's Eclectic Interests. I'm your host, Richard A. Claddy. My special guest tonight is Kelly Radi, who has written a book, Out to Sea, A Parent's Survival Guide to the Freshman Voyage. Welcome, Kelly, to the show.
Thanks, Richard. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're honored to have an author here that has, what is this? Did you win an award?
I did. Just this month, the book earned a MIPA award.
Is this from the Independent Publisher?
Independent Publishers Association, and it received the gold for the parenting and family category.
Well, congratulations.
So, thank you. Thank you. It's been just a real honor and privilege to be able to share this information.
You published this yourself, is that correct?
Through Beaver's Pond Press in Edina.
All right. So were you trying to sell like your manuscript to a big publishing house, or did you have to just kind of feel that out and decide on your own that maybe this is a better way to go?
I really hoped I could do something locally. I wanted to be a partner with my publisher, not a number or name, somebody they talk to on the computer.
Right.
And so I was able to develop a personal relationship with the crew there and had a Twin Cities editor and a Twin Cities graphic artist, if I can mention him. Kevin Cannon did incredible work on the cover design, and so I appreciated having my publishing team local. All right.
What motivated you to write this book?
My kids preparing to launch. That's what motivated me.
You're launching them off to school.
Exactly.
Higher education.
Exactly. When our oldest daughter was preparing to go to college, I was lost, and I was looking for some guidance, and I'm an avid reader, so I thought, I'm gonna go find a book to do this. And
there must be tons of books out there.
There are. However, a lot of them that I found were written by strong academics, maybe a retired former dean or administrator of a college. Lots of facts, good data. I felt missing a little heart. And so I wanted to write something that really captured those same facts and information, but also touched on the heart of a parent. Because this transition is really powerful. It is emotionally and sometimes physically exhausting.
So this is from a parent's point of view, and you're giving them tips to how to prepare your children when they go off to college. And is there like, right off the bat, is there something that really stands out that you discovered that you probably didn't even think of before?
Oh gosh, tough question. I would say just the communication piece. As a parent, we're wired to want to jump in and fix things, and especially me, I'm a fixer. But I found in doing the research for this book, it's not a memoir. It's not just telling our story. I went coast to coast and interviewed administrators, college and high school, admissions counselors, parents, psychologists, and students. And I got some of the best information from the students. So while we do share our story, and it is part of who I am that made me want to write this, it's really not telling just what happened at the Radi house. It's sharing information from many other households and what worked and what didn't.
It's pretty, it can be pretty overwhelming. And I'm just, I'm an adult. I mean, you got to put yourself in their shoes and getting adapted to school. I mean, what is important for those parents to understand is you got to put yourself in their shoes. What are they getting into?
Great point. So in the book, I do cover the areas of kind of preparing to launch, what you're doing to get ready, whether they're talking about communication, money matters, academic expectations. There's also a chapter on what to pack. Again, though, the book is for the parents, not the students. It's to help us as parents guide and empower our students as they go.
And get them off to a good start.
Exactly. Well, and you touched on how it's very different, and what maybe makes the parents more emotional is not going to be the same thing that makes the students emotional.
Right.
But these kids are under pressure in preparing to launch and doing it all and getting ready. And a great thing to tell you that happened at our house. So for me, packing ahead of time, the summer before the launch, we had a go box where we'd just start throwing, those towels they'd get as a graduation gift would go in the box. And, and before you know it, it went from a box to the guest bedroom. Before you know it, there's piles of towels and bedding and toiletries. And for me, the packing process was kind of therapeutic because we were owning it and I was helping. It was something tangible I could do to help my daughter through the process. However, what helped me gave her some anxiety. I walked into that guest bedroom one day, and there's my little girl, all 18 years of her, sitting in the middle of the room next to a pile of toiletries, a basket of laundry, towels, bedding, and she's holding a pair of flip-flops, shower shoes, bawling her eyes out. So while it helped me to put all that stuff together, for her it actually almost made her more anxious about going.
Okay. Well, how about a little bit of your background? Did you attend college?
I did. I went 6 hours from home. I was the first one in my family to
What
launch.
was it like when you went off to school for the first time?
When I went off to school, we had to wait to contact our parents till Sunday night, where you'd wait in line in the dormitory basement for your turn at the payphone, where you'd dial.
Oh, yeah. What? What's that?
Yeah, and call collect. And so that's a really significant change from then to now. Now we're in our kids' back pockets, literally. You know, they're a text or a phone call away, and they're all carrying their smartphones. So that's a question, interestingly enough, that comes up frequently from parents, and that is, how often do I call my child? How often do I reach out? Because my instinct is, well, I haven't heard from him in 4 hours, I better check, you know. And the advice I got over and over again from administrators and you know, counseling staff on the college campuses was, let them make the first move.
Right.
So instead of me calling the third time that week or that day even, if my daughter needed to reach out to me, she would, but kind of for the first month especially, let the student make the first move.
Of course.
And understand if you don't hear from them, that's probably good news.
Yes.
They're probably not homesick. And really, once the students go through orientation and that move-in weekend, the universities keep them humming. They are busy
they've got it.
From sun up to sundown and then some. And that's by design, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Keep them occupied, get them in the system, get them in their groove, let them meet people in their dorms, on their floors, in their classes. And so when they don't reach out to you, that's a good thing because they're occupied. Their minds are occupied, their hearts are occupied, and they're busy.
Right. My personal story, I went to the University of Minnesota, and one thing I found is it's kind of important, you know, I'm sure you get into you know, the expense of going to college, and it's good, you got to think ahead there, of course. And most students probably need a part-time job or something if you do have some financial. What I recommend is trying to get a job on campus. Many of these universities, I'm sure almost every university and college has an employment office where you can check in, and I found that very helpful. I worked part-time at the University of Minnesota, and that worked out really well for me.
Well, then you don't need a vehicle
That's
necessarily if it's on campus. It makes it easy to get to work. And generally the on-campus jobs accommodate a student's schedule.
Yeah, I found that out true. And plus, I had different jobs where there's actually downtime, and you know, I could do some studying on the job even. And that it's not like I'm getting away with anything. I mean, they encourage that. I mean,
it's a place.
Then they have work study too, and all sorts of programs. So I think it's very important to you got to think ahead and prepare, and that's I'm sure that's what a lot of this is about, is just thinking ahead before the problems arise.
Exactly. It's talking about it and communicating on the
Communication,
front end. So we may assume that our student's going to have some sort of a job. They may not. And considering parents and children don't always see eye to eye through the entire teenage years, it shouldn't shock us as parents. However, really communicating about it on the front end, whether it's academic expectations, job expectations, how often they're coming home, and even the communication. Hey, just so you know, if I do call you, I do expect to just get a text saying, thumbs up, I'm okay, within, say, 24 hours, just for a parent's peace of mind to know that the student's okay.
There are other important issues that we have to cover as parents, and as your students are leaving, most of them are 18, 19 years old, and in most cases it might be their first exposure to alcohol, and let's hope not any other drugs, and
Right.
but there are other drugs out there. We must face the real world these days.
Correct.
How do you prepare for that?
I have a whole chapter in the book, and it's called Tsunami, keeping up with my nautical theme.
Right.
And just like a tsunami blows over and scares and hurts fishermen, you know, these issues are the things that keep us as parents awake at night, and the tsunami of emotions that come with it. And you mentioned alcohol, Richard, and that is hands down the number one concern on any college campus,
Sure.
whether it's a large public university or a small private college. Every single administrator I interviewed cited alcohol as their number one concern.
Right.
So if you think your student's not going to be exposed to it, you're probably mistaken.
Oh, well, they're going to be exposed to it no matter what, because they're going to be going to parties and stuff. And if they
Right.
don't drink at all, they're going to meet people from the opposite sex that might have abused alcohol, and that can also lead to other issues. Just say no means no, but let's face it, we do have a problem in our society of inappropriate sexual activity on partners. You know, they don't recognize when, you know, if there's alcohol involved. When a young lady says no, it means no. But as you know, there's many lawsuits involved
Correct,
now, and
correct.
it's a very important issue to face.
We do dig into that in the book and
Excellent,
talking
excellent.
about consent and what consent means in terms of sexuality.
It's very important.
And that falls under, actually I call that section SEX, because it's a topic most parents get a little uncomfortable
Yes, of
talking
course.
about. But again, it comes back to communication.
Yes, well, you
And
have to face these issues, and I
You
mean,
do.
Most parents, you know, you face the old birds and the bees issues, so this shouldn't be any big shock to you. And
But you know, every topic we're touching on here comes back to the ultimate goal. And as a parent, the ultimate goal, whether they're 5 or 25 or probably 55, is healthy, happy adults who can function in the real world.
And every child, young adult, matures at different rates.
Different
And
rates.
it's very important for the parent to pick up on where they're at in their development,
Correct.
I'm sure.
Well, and what works for one may not work for
Yeah,
the
of
other.
course, of course.
I know my family, what works for us, may not have worked in your family. Or, like we had discussed earlier, between children.
All right.
You know, what works for my oldest daughter may not be the most effective, you know, plan of communication for my younger daughter. So it's being adaptable
Of course.
and recognizing different needs, different perspectives.
But it all starts with a strong foundation, a loving home, and that's, you know, 90% of getting off to a good start.
Absolutely. I always say it's our job to be their anchors, but to give them sails.
Sure.
Be that soft place to land. Be the one they want to call if there's a concern or a problem or a joy. If they want to call and share something exciting. Our oldest daughter has actually stayed in her college town for the summer and called me this week to tell me about her internship that she got for the summer. And
Great.
so we've kind of come full circle. She's not calling me just about the scary stuff, but she's calling me about the joys too. And so
course.
as a parent, that certainly warms your heart.
And it's good to, you know, steer. There's always after school activities. It could be from chess club to if they're involved in sports, or if you're not on scholarship, which is, you know, a fine line there. Who, you know, maybe only 10, if that 10% maybe be on some kind of scholarship, athletic scholarship. But I'm sure you encourage to participate in the school. I mean, we hope you're attend some sporting events, whatever your interests lie. But if you're not into sports, you know, there's, I'm sure, like dance.
There's countless. The university my daughter attends, there's something like 250, 270 outside groups that you can choose to participate in.
Right.
And if there's not a group for you, as long as I think it's 2 or 3 people, you can start a group,
Well,
university sanctioned group. So if you want to be involved, there's an opportunity to be involved as a student. And most experts that I talk to on campuses encourage that. That's all part of creating your family, meeting your people, making your footprint, and finding your place on a university. And being active curbs homesickness
Of course.
and keeps them probably a little bit more out of trouble because it gives them another focus and some accountability. So it's all good. And furthermore, parents can be involved. Now, I didn't say over-involved. Want to make sure I clarify. But as a parent, I'm actually, and my husband and I, we serve on a parent team at this university. And so we go down and speak at orientation, participate, help out a little bit, homecoming time, parent weekend. So we're a little bit involved, but we're not in her way or in her face either. So as parents, some of the resources out there, it's really important to look for those. And in the age of technology, there are websites and for parents, you know, on the school website, there'll be the parent portal where they'll have all kinds of information on how to be involved. Or Facebook pages, Class of 2021 for parents. In fact, our younger daughter is going to be going to school in Duluth.
Oh, great.
So I'm a Bulldog mom.
I was up there a lot. That's where my daughter graduated
that's
from.
right.
Yeah, it's a great campus.
But it's a great place to get information on this little Facebook page, Parents of Class of 2021.
Oh, wow, excellent.
So it's a nice way to connect and feel like you're involved, but not be in your student's way. And that's another piece of advice that I share in the book that I received as I talked to experts. You know, the question was, how much involvement is too much involvement? Our instinct is to do this and help and jump in and fix and advise or over-advise. And the advice was, what you're doing is all right if it's not inhibiting the growth or development of the student. So them bringing laundry home and you helping them do a load of laundry probably isn't inhibiting any growth. But you showing up unannounced to the dorm 3 times a week to pick up junior's laundry might be getting in the way of that growth factor.
And it's good to cover more than one stone. You could go up and see how they're doing, but kind of tie it around an event, like maybe there's a play, a student play, or there's all sorts, like you said, there's thousands of activities. You can go up and see it, go to a dance with them. So that's what I did. My daughter was in dance up there, so of course we went up to see her dance, and then you could kind of see what's going on, you know, and we'd meet her boyfriend or meet her friends. It's a great way to meet the people that she's hanging out with. And so you're not just dropping in out of the blue. You can schedule these things, and they can kind of see that you're just want to be involved.
Exactly. The students really do appreciate you caring and asking questions and being involved. None of them were real keen on just having you show up as a parent for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But that was some of the great information. I was the lady in mom jeans at the student unions and the coffee shops on campus as I was researching for Out to Sea. And I would sit down with a group of students, and it took them a little while to warm up to me. And I explained what my project was and why I was researching, and assured them I wouldn't use their full names. And asked questions like, okay, what did your parents do right in helping you launch? What do you wish they'd have done differently? What could they have done better? And
good
moving
question,
forward,
definitely.
what would you like them to know? And I'm telling you, Richard, it was like drinking from a fire hose. I just kept getting information overload.
Getting blasted left and right.
It was fantastic, though.
Great. There's a lot of information out there.
Oh, these students were articulate. They're smart. Once they understood what I was doing, they weren't afraid to share their information. I left feeling like we're in good hands.
Once again, you're from this area, but to write this book, you traveled all over the United States and met with different
I really did.
institutions. You went to what, different colleges?
Different colleges. In fact, I spoke with, there's a chapter in there on safety and campus safety issues. And I talked with the safety team at Princeton about that. Midwest colleges, East Coast colleges, West Coast colleges, Southern colleges. So it's not a Midwest book. It may have the Midwest flavor because I am a Midwest girl, but it really is designed to be a resource for parents across the nation. For universities of all sizes.
Kelly, another important issue is money matters, of course. So do you have a chapter on money?
I do. It's actually called Money Matters.
There you go. Excellent.
You know, these students are off to school. They're on their own. It's their freshman year. And I don't think you can turn left or right and not get handed a credit card application.
Yeah, they got all these freebies.
Oh.
You get a sweatshirt, the school's name on it, and plus sign up for a free credit card.
A free bank T-shirt, a free cooler, you name it.
Sure.
I call this the free T-shirt generation.
Wow.
Because
yeah.
everywhere they turn, there's a free T-shirt. No, actually, a great story about that and the thought process that these young people have. There's a girl named Jordan. She came home, and her parents noticed she was getting a lot of love letters from MasterCard and her friends at Visa.
Oh, sure.
And started asking a few questions. And what they found out is Jordan had taken out 6 credit cards
Wow.
her first year of college.
Yikes.
And in her mind, she was paying them because she made minimum payments every month on 6 credit cards.
That's
and
part of her education there.
yes.
Unfortunately,
And
we don't want
yes.
our young students getting $30,000 in debt right away
No.
on credit cards. I mean,
No.
that's not the way we want them to start college.
No, and what she didn't understand was minimum payments aren't going to get the job done.
No, you're not paying on that principal.
It was a great eye-opener for her parents, though, and that's something I talk about in the book for all parents. If you haven't taught your student about credit cards, how they work,
Right.
debt, basic budgeting,
I mean, this
student
is not
loans.
just for, this is for everybody.
Well, correct. So everybody buy a book, right?
Yeah, right.
I just think if we can't assume our students, our children know these things,
Excellent
if
point.
we as parents have not personally taught them. This isn't something they're probably going to learn in high school.
Right.
They may get snippets, but to teach them how to apply this to everyday life, to sit down and walk through just a basic budget.
Right.
And it's a great life skill. And if you don't do it now, you're just setting them up for bigger challenges.
big
You know,
problem.
the other, speaking of money matters, the other phrase I hear quite a bit from students is, oh, I'll just add another year of school. You know, I dropped this class. I'm just going to add a 5th year, and it's fine. I'll pay for it when I graduate and get my real job.
No, you're just adding a
It's a
added burden.
wonderful dream to have that real job that starts you out with 60, 70 grand a year first year out of college, right? So I think that's another component. Back to communication.
Right.
Every single topic we've talked about really circles back to communicating with your student. And money especially,
Right.
because oftentimes when they do get in trouble, who do they look to bail them out?
Right.
Mom and
And we
dad,
all
dear
know-
old dad, right?
We all know that tuition is a major expense as it is. You don't need extra financial
Well,
burden.
And honestly, Chancellor William McRaven from the University of Texas system, and I don't want to mangle his words here, but he basically made a statement that said, hey, you know, adding a 5th year of school to your 4-year plan essentially, you know, jacks the cost by 25%. And he said,
significant.
imagine the uproar if UT system would just up everybody's expenses by 25%. There'd be an outrage. He said, this is a preventable situation for these students by communicating, by working with their academic advisors and looking at the 4-year plan
Right.
in terms of scheduling and classes and time management.
Sure.
And the book talks about the 4-year plan, both in terms of finances, academics, and communication.
Right. Okay, another very important issue is the health of our children, and many have special needs. Do you recommend working with like the school nurse, or many programs? I would imagine most colleges have health. And I'm sure most colleges you have to have a health insurance is part of your tuition too, isn't it? In most.
They generally fall under their parents.
Oh, do they?
Most of the
Okay.
time. In terms of health care, universities and colleges, everyone I've been to has an on-campus site
Okay.
for, you know, campus clinic, if you will. And in addition, most schools have connections or on-campus sites to mental health care,
Okay.
because that's one of those tsunami items.
Sure.
You know, there are a lot
Well,
of
there's going to be a lot of
kids-
stresses. We all
Oh,
know
dealing with
that.
anxiety and stress and depression. And a lot of kids come into school with these things already in their systems, and it's just another layer of support that schools offer and help kids walk through this. And their specialty our students this age, this dynamic, this demographic, if you will.
Right.
And so they're very equipped to guide our students. The piece of advice I would remind parents, though, once they're 18, that responsibility falls on the students.
Yes.
When they're in elementary school and junior high, as parents, we're making their doctor appointments.
Yeah, right.
We're ordering their prescriptions. We're doing it for them. So great advice for parents of high schoolers. Start pulling back a little bit and encouraging them to consider when they're going to schedule this appointment, to manage their medication. It's a little bit of a change of power,
Right.
if you will, but the goal is to empower them to handle it. You can't just plop them on a college campus, walk away and expect they'll know how to handle their money, how to handle their medical, their health,
Right.
everything, if you haven't equipped them and prepared them.
Got to get that communication flowing.
Absolutely.
Well, how about one final subject? Of course, we all can't afford a car, and transportation's kind of important. Bicycles are in use, very popular now. I know I rode a bike to school for a while, and do you have any good tips on transportation?
We have a whole chapter
A whole
called
chapter,
Campus
you say?
Navigation. Yes, sir.
Excellent, excellent.
You know, and it comes back to personal and family and campus dynamics. It depends on the situation. They can certainly survive without a vehicle on campus.
Right.
And I'm not pro or against it.
Right.
I think it's a communication piece again. It comes back to family finances, for one thing. Some universities make the decision for you.
Oh, sure.
And simply don't allow first-year students to have a vehicle on campus.
Right.
But it's important to look at all your options, whether it's a pair of Nikes, because let's be honest, you can walk to most places on campus. The way schools are set up, you can get your classes, your fitness, your entertainment, your groceries, your cafeteria, all in a pretty tight distance. A good pair of sneakers will get you where you need to go.
Excellent, excellent.
However, there's also public transportation.
Of course.
Of course, you want to look into safety and effectiveness too, depending on where the university is located.
Very important issues.
I did have one student say it's not as great as it looks in the brochure, but I think it's worth looking into.
Definitely.
Because many communities, their public transport offers significant, if not free, discounts to college students.
What specific message would you like to leave with parents and say, this, when you read this book, these are the one or two most important things that you're going to get out of this book, that maybe you've got questions on this and that you didn't think of. You weren't, because that kind of, what I mean, you wrote this because you couldn't find a book to answer your questions.
Right.
So how?
Well, I do hope when people read the book, they feel like they're sitting down having a cup of coffee
Right.
with a friend, a mom who's gone this route before. And I want it to come from the heart, but give them the information they need. And I guess my advice would be, first of all, you will survive.
Right.
You will survive. And I would encourage parents to really remember that ultimate goal. Because if you remember, the goal is empowering these young people to be healthy, happy adults who can function in the real world, not attached to our hips.
That's
you know,
right.
if we can keep that top of mind, it helps us make better parenting decisions through this season of life, through this transition from high school to college.
Well, Kelly, excellent book. I think, like you said,
Thanks, Richard.
you were out there looking for something when your daughter was going to be going to school and you couldn't find anything. So you saw a need and you jumped on it, and we salute you for that. Once again, this is Out to Sea, a parent's survival guide to the freshman voyage. Kelly Radi is my special guest. This is Mary's Eclectic Interest. Great interview, and I hope to see you again.
Thanks, Richard.